Welcome to Business Voice, a program of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce, made possible with support from presenting sponsor Collette. Each month, we'll feature business and community leaders sharing their stories, initiatives, concerns, and passions. Learn practical information regarding community resources and opportunities. Now, the host of Business Voice, Greece Regional Chamber President and CEO, Sarah Lentini.
Hi, I'm Sarah Lentini, and welcome to Business Voice, a program of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce sponsored by Collette, our partner in travel. We've got a fantastic show for you, first show of the 2018 year, with a couple of wonderful guests that we're going to talk to in depth. One is Ralph DeStephano of Buckman's Enterprises. His family has a long history in business and philanthropy in the region. And the other is Jim Cucinelli, 2018 Small Business of the Year winner and the owner of Ridgemont Country Club. Stick around. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
In 2018, visit exciting U.S. and international destinations with the Greece Regional Chamber in partnership with Collette. They've done all the planning and negotiating for you so you can put the fun back in. 2018 tours include America's Cowboy Country, South Africa, Spain and Portugal, and the Treasures of Tuscany. Visit the Greece Regional Chamber today. Go online or call 585-227-7272 to find out about their upcoming presentations. Take the trip of a lifetime. Again, that's 585-227-7272.
Do you become awestruck when looking through kitchen magazines or watching remodeling shows? You see some of those kitchens and they just look magnificent. If you purchase the same exact cabinets, countertops, and appliances and hire a random remodeling company to install them, your kitchen may look similar to the picture, but most likely it won't have the same feel or gusto. To achieve perfection and awesomeness, Gaelen Style Fine Kitchen and Baths will go the extra mile. Gaelen Style Fine Kitchens and Baths takes all the time and effort to make your kitchen magazine worthy. Galen's Fine Kitchen and Baths. Call 585-978-5154. That's 585-978-5154.
Considering a move to a senior community? Don't know where to start? Call our team of experts at The Village. We'll help you with decisions about independent living, assisted living, memory care, or enhanced. For a limited time, our Unity and Mill Landing campuses are offering our Easy Move Now package with big savings on rent, a free move management package from Grandma's Helpers, and a rent lock. Limitations and restrictions apply. Call 585-723-7442 or visit villageseniorcommunities.org.
Rochester's home for talk. WYSL 92.1 FM and 1040 AM.
Welcome back. I'm Sarah Lentini, and you're listening to Business Voice, a program of the Greece Regional Chamber, sponsored by Collette, our partner in travel. And I'm delighted to welcome my first guest, somebody I've known now for several years and really enjoy working with, Ralph DeStephano of Buckman's Enterprises. Welcome, Ralph.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Terrific. Ralph, your family has this amazing history in the business community here in the greater Rochester region. And I thought we might start by you telling us a little bit about your family, especially your dad. I know he's been pivotal in starting in a number of things, and you've picked up right where he left off. Tell us a little bit about, for starters, Buckman's Dairy and Buckman's Donuts.
Well, Buckman's, my dad bought Buckman's Dairy in 1950. He always wanted that store, and he was out at a convention in Chicago, and someone called him and said, "Hey, Buckman's is for sale." So he left the convention, he went down, came back to Rochester, and he put in a bid, and he got the bid. I think he paid like $100 more. I think he paid $50,000 for it back in 1950. That was a lot of money.
Yep.
But he added $100, and he got the store for that $100, and he really enjoyed working there. I mean, he was quite a promoter in his day. He was quite a visionary in his day, and we got Buckman's, and it was just a little store, and we gradually expanded it, over the years to where it was when I left in 1993 is when I sold it.
And I missed it completely, which I'm so sorry about, because people to this day, will come up to me and say, Buckman's Donuts was amazing, the dairy was amazing, everybody's got their favorite ice cream, everybody's got their favorite donut. But just go back for a minute. So why did your dad want that store so badly, and what was he doing before he bought?
Well, he was in the dairy business. When my dad was in high school, he had a scholarship to go to University in Alabama. He wanted to be an attorney. In June of that year, the year he was graduating, his father died. So my dad, being the oldest in the family, had to get a job.
Yep.
So what he did is he got a job at a milk processing plant, washing milk bottles for $2 a week back in 1929. So he gradually worked his way up. He became plant manager. And then he wanted to learn something about the office, so he went in the office, became office manager. He wanted to learn about the routes, so he went out and worked all the milk trucks. And he gradually, he had the largest independent dairy in Rochester. He bought about more than that, about 10 small dairies over the years. And he had a big number of routes, wholesale and retail.
Goodness.
And then, he approached me. He said, Ralph, do you ever want to be, in the dairy business? And I said, no, because when I was in college, I wanted to be a doctor. So I went to Seton Hall, and I was a pre-med student there. My junior year, I decided, maybe medicine isn't for me. I liked it, but it was just a little, it wasn't as exciting as I thought. So I never forget, I called my dad. I said, Dad, I think I'm going to give up pre-med. I'm going to finish up my senior year, get my pre-med degree, take my medical boards, all that other stuff. But I think I'd like to go into business with you. And he was speechless.
I bet he was delighted.
Well, yeah, because he never pushed me. He said, you make your own decision, do what you want. So I took a year of graduate business after I graduated college, and because I didn't have any business.
Well, you probably had more business knowledge and experience than you realized just growing up with your dad.
I don't know about that, but I learned a lot. And then when I came to Rochester, after I finished with that, I was a milkman.
Wow.
And I was on the train. I started out with retail, going house to house, and then he put me on wholesale. Of course, here I'm 25, 26 years old. I got to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
That wasn't your favorite part of it, I'm sure.
I didn't like that. And the worst part was, in the wintertime, a lot of times, some of the guys would call in sick when they have a snowstorm. Mm-hmm. So my father used to call me 3 o'clock, and Ralph, you got to go on this route. Now, do you ever try to pull, 5 or 6 cases of milk on a two-wheeler across the snow? It wasn't fun. So I did that so I could learn the milk business, which I didn't really like. Then I went into Buckman's, and I became the manager there, and I learned from the ground up. I started, washing floors,
just
filling
like your
milk,
dad.
doing all that other stuff.
Yeah, just like your dad. I mean, that's really what I'm hearing is your dad started out washing milk bottles.
Yes,
you said, right?
Yeah, and he taught me, a work ethic. He said, Ralph, you're working here at Buckman's, you're the boss's son.
Yeah.
And you got to work twice as hard as anybody else, because if you don't, you're going to hear from me. So I did work twice as hard as anybody else. Yep. But I learned a lot. I mean, he and I used to clash all the time because, here I am, a young kid. I'm out of college. I thought I knew everything. And I try to, tell him, why don't we do this? He always shot me down. But you know what? I didn't realize it at the time, but he was right.
Yeah.
He was really, he really knew what he was talking about. And, and like I said, he had a vision. We expanded. We bought the houses. There was a fire station next to us. He bought that back in the early 60s, and we expanded the area. Then we had houses to the west of us. We bought those, and we put in, a little mini shopping plaza.
Yeah. Oh, nice. And is that because now I know you're the owner of Buckman's Enterprises. I mean, does a lot of that stuff remain under the umbrella of Buckman's Enterprises?
Yes, it does. The plaza is under Buckman Enterprises because I have some other houses that I own that I rent out. So I have it all under that umbrella. Yeah. Which, keeps me busy, which I like.
Keeps you out of trouble. Yeah. Sort of, maybe.
Yeah, sort of, maybe.
And you've got all kinds of great tenants, right? I mean, you're right up the road from us, right up the road from the Grease Chambers.
I have some really good tenants. I have City Mattress is my major tenant, and I have Empire, it's Vision Works now, and the Red Cross, and Pino's, and I have some really good. And the nice thing about the plaza, where I'm very fortunate, is that most of my tenants are service-orientated tenants.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't buy this stuff on the internet.
Oh, right.
So people have to come to the store. So I'm very fortunate that my mix turned out to what it was,
right.
because my tenants are. I have tenants like City Mattress has been there since 1991.
Wow.
Empire Vision or Vision Works have been there. I have one tenant. She's the hairdresser. She's been in my plaza since 1969.
That's unbelievable.
And she moved over, when
Wow.
we tore the Buckmans down.
Right.
But most of my tenants have longevity,
Well,
so that's good.
Well, that also speaks to the fact that they're happy there, and that speaks to your management.
Well,
Yep.
I try to, I'm on premise, which is good, and I try to take care of the property. I try to be more proactive, and because I don't have to be reactive. I could just get in there if something happens. And I walk the plazas every day, not in the winter, but in the summer, looking around and make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be.
It makes a big difference having the owner and the landlord right there. That
Yes,
makes an
it does.
enormous difference.
Yeah,
you've got great tenants. I'm thinking of another one, Sign Impressions,
Oh,
because
yeah.
we do a lot of work with them.
Sign
They're
Impression,
on the lower
yeah,
level. They're
yeah,
terrific.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but the list is long. Yeah.
I have good tenants, and they're all great tenants because I have a good relationship with all of them. I go around and I'll go in. Hey, how you doing? Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, whatever. I try to be more associated with my tenants. I'm not some guy from New York City that's.
Yeah, you're hardly an absentee.
No,
anybody.
absolutely
Yeah, you're
not.
right. You're right here
Absolutely
in the spirit of the community, in the heart of the community. So, the other thing is that I know that you've got some. When you have vacancies, that you also have some very reasonable rates. So that's one of the things that I've actually mentioned to any number of the members of the Greece Regional Chamber is to make sure to check you out, and that's important because often when somebody's starting out, they're looking for
exactly.
It's a great spot. It's right on Ridge Road. It's a main thoroughfare. You've got all those great tenants that are pulling in traffic,
exactly.
and then maybe it's even a space that they can actually afford. So
well,
that's
I try
awesome.
to be reasonable with my tenants, especially if they're starting out. Like my lower level is mostly, tenants that are locals, and you work with them. Yeah, I work with all my tenants, and that makes for a nice relationship.
Yep.
The way I look at it.
Now, the part we didn't talk about was the stuff that your dad did, other than the business role. Obviously, he was sort of a natural businessman, from what I'm hearing, with all sorts of amazing curiosity, right? Which I think is the secret to success in life. If you have curiosity and a limited amount of fear, something I'm still working on, by the way, then the world is potentially your oyster. And I've read that so many places, too, that the real secret to success has to do with, certainly it helps to have a modicum of intelligence and some knowledge and some talent, but the real secret is not giving up. The real secret is, plowing forward and trying some new things and not being afraid to fail. And I've read that time and again. And I have to, and it makes me think a little bit of your dad, because you've told me the story, and you were actually our keynote speaker at the Small Business Awards a couple of years ago, and you told, the crowd this story, which was so amazing, about your dad coming home one day, right?
Yeah, it was 1961. I was a senior in high school, and he comes home, my sister and I and my mother sitting at the table. He said, "We're going to put a hospital in Greece." I said, "What are you talking about?" My sister and I looked at each other. He said, "Yeah, we're going to, Greece is a growing community. There's no hospital west of the Genesee River."
Which is amazing.
Greece is growing. At that time, there was about 43,000 people living there.
Yeah.
So I said, we're going to do it. And what he did is Park Avenue Hospital had a license, and for a hospital license, and they wanted to expand. And they couldn't because they didn't have enough room. So my father said, we're going to do it. We're going to buy the land.
Wow.
And we're going to give it to Park Avenue Hospital if they build their hospital here. So he went out and raised a lot of money. He knew how to raise money. I can't do that, but he knows how to raise money. Raised a lot of money. Bought the land out on, Long Pond and Ridgeway Avenue, and gave it to Park Avenue Hospital.
That's amazing.
And he said to them, "We want you to come out here. We're going to give you enough land," because what happens is when companies buy land, they never buy enough. Mm-hmm. So we're going to buy enough land because, maybe someday you may want to expand. And the other thing we have to do is we're not going to charge for parking. And that's probably the biggest selling.
Those are huge. That's great. Yeah.
So people love it. I remember we used to go out, my dad and I, and people, oh, yeah, Mr. DeStephano, you're the guy, no charge for parking. I said, no charge for parking.
Yeah, even today that'd be a big hit.
Today,
because
that's right.
That would be a distinguishing factor. You're absolutely right.
So look at the hospital now. I mean, Unity is huge. It employs a lot of people. Now we just merged with Rochester General. Now, Rochester Regional Health, we're a great hospital system. Actually, I'm on the board for Rochester Regional, and they got some great people on the board, and we're doing marvelous things for the community.
Yeah, and it is really a testament to your dad's vision, and a vision that you've then picked up and carried on, which is remarkable in and of itself, but then... I also, this isn't just about your dad. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm also so impressed because there are two major institutions in Greece that you're responsible for starting. I guess one's an institution and one's an initiative. And we're still celebrating both of those today. And one of them is the Greece Education Foundation, right? For the Greece Central School District. You started that.
Yes.
Kind of like your dad, actually, right? You knew nothing about foundations.
No. I worked for the Greece Central School District back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I went to the superintendent. I said, do you have any type of program where, alumni give to, he said, no, we don't have anything. Do you have any track of it? No, we don't have anything like that. I said, well, why don't we form a foundation? And that way there, maybe we can raise some money for the school district.
Right.
So I didn't know anything about foundations, so I went to the, I can't think of her
Rochester
name.
Area Community Foundation.
Yeah. And I saw her, and I wish I could remember
Jennifer
her name.
Leonard.
Yes. And Jennifer helped us. She put together a package for us, and we formed the Greece Education Foundation 2000. And up to now, we've raised over $500,000.
Wow.
And we've given it back, to the district. I mean, our expenses are maybe about 5%, and that's it. The rest of the money goes back to the teachers for whatever they want. Yeah,
it's really volunteer-driven. And just to make sure, in the interest of full disclosure, I think you nabbed me early on in my tenure at the Greece Regional Chamber, so I do also sit on the foundation board.
You do.
And at the time, you were the chair, and had been from the very beginning.
I've been on it for
quite a lot of.
Yeah, I've been on it for. Well, actually, when we started it. I was an employee there, so I was, on board. And then when I left the district, I became a board member.
Which is
perfect.
I've
been on, like I said, I'm going on 18 years.
Yeah.
Long time.
No, that's wonderful. It's a fantastic thing. And it's all volunteer-driven. Like you said, there's really very little district resources. I mean, the district is, of course, involved and supportive. Maybe. But what I love about it as well is that you're funding the projects, the classroom projects, the ideas that teachers have, that are often very creative and very innovative and great for kids, but maybe there isn't a ready stream of funding for them.
Correct.
So and sometimes they don't actually need a ton of money, but they need a little bit of money, it makes all the difference between a teacher being able to do something exciting with the students. Right? I mean,
these are things that are outside the budget, the school district budget, that the teachers can't get in the budget. So they'll write a grant, and then we have a grant committee that reviews them, and we award the grants to the teachers, and they take their money and do what they have to with it. It's really a great thing for the kids. That's what it's all about.
It really is, and you really see the impact it's having on kids directly. It's not one of these. One of these things where you're kind of scratching your head about whether there's actually whether kids are actually going to benefit. Sometimes I look at some funding streams and some other budgets, and I'm not sure. So, no, I'm very proud to be a part of it, and I was so impressed with the fact that that you just kind of went out there and started this thing, and it's more than has legs, and it is it is something that continues to run very well, very strongly with a wonderful group of volunteers. And then the other thing that you started, and this is really near and dear to my heart because this is something that you started when many moons ago, were you actually, because you used to be in the role that I'm in at the Greece Regional Chamber, you were the president and CEO. Were you the president and CEO when you started the Youth Hall of Fame?
I was the president. I wasn't a CEO. That's when
same difference.
The volunteer was a president.
Oh, you were the board chair.
Yes, I was the chair of the board.
Okay.
And I had a store when I had Buckman's. I had a store out in Henrietta. And one of my employees said, I can't work tonight because I have to go to the Henrietta Hall of Fame. I said, what the heck is that? And she said, well, they honor, students that in the community, and not necessarily scholars or athletes, but maybe students that have been through a rough time, or maybe they're a good volunteer, or maybe they're a good employee. I said, that's a great idea. So I went to the Hall of Fame in Henrietta. And I talked to the head of that, and I said, I want to start something like that in Greece. And he gave me all the information. I brought it to my board, and I said, I think we should do something like that. So Roger Boyle, he was the supervisor of Greece, and I approached him. I said, I want to do something like this. Can we do it? And he said, yeah, sure. And of course, that was when they had the old town hall, so we didn't have much room for pictures, because you only maybe fit about 10 on the wall because it was in the back. So I said, okay, we'll limit it to 10 or under. So we formed the, that is really a wonderful committee. It's a wonderful event for these kids, because a lot of these kids, they've never been recognized, by their peers, or we used to have we have the event we used to have it at town hall. So supervisor was there. I invite all the local politicians, the sheriff, the county manager, and they all stand up in front, and then we'd read a biography of the child, and then they'd shake hands with all these people. And it's very heartfelt for me, because when I'm up there and I see these kids and they're being applauded, and you can just see them beaming, because this has never happened to them, and it's really it's one of my favorite. I mean, not because I founded it, but it's one of my favorite events to attend.
I agree.
It's really a great thing for these kids.
And year after year, because now I've been involved for a few years, right? Nowhere near as long as you. I think it's 28 years. We're in our 28th year.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Ralph DeStephano, oh my gosh. And every year that I've been involved, I'm amazed. I think last year we inducted 15 students into the Youth Hall of Fame. And, and that's usually roughly the number. And it's not, we don't have a shortage of amazing young people in our community.
I agree.
We have just unbelievable individuals who happen to be young, who are doing all sorts of great things. And this is, often they're doing well academically, but this is not a program about academics per se. It's really a program about having overcome some, typically some sort of difficulty. Those difficulties can take all sorts of forms, and they do. And then having found a way to reach in and to give back. So the majority of the young people that are recognized are, this is very moving. I mean, it brings you to tears. It's kind of doing that for me right now, which is you sit there and you listen to their stories, which,
oh my God,
are incredibly moving and very impressive. And every year I think to myself, I should be as good as these young people are. I don't think I've achieved a fraction of what they've achieved under what are often very difficult circumstances. So very, very moving, an incredibly meaningful thing to be doing. And and the thing that I've said and others have said that I think bears repeating is that we don't recognize, we don't appreciate young people enough. It's really such an easy thing to do. And such an important thing to do, because, boy, you want to encourage somebody who's on the right path and doing good things. And instead we have a tendency in general to focus on the negative in our society, but we especially tend to focus on the negative things that kids are doing. And, there may be some kids that are making some poor choices. But there are so many kids that, in the face of adversity, are making phenomenally good choices and generous ones. And so I think what you've done by starting and running this, because you chaired this up until about a year ago or so is phenomenal.
Well, like you said, what we wanted to do when back then when we thought to bring it to the chambers, we had the business person of the year, and I said, maybe we should recognize these children that are really had hardship or adversities, and so that's why we started it. And it really is, it's mushroomed and it's blossomed and it's become quite an event for the community.
Well, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to you. Thank you to you and your family, because I think you've created, you've had tremendous impact on the community, and the community. By the community, I mean the region, because none of what you're talking about is particularly narrow in scope. Oh my goodness, your father's efforts have been pivotal to the formation of Rochester Regional Health, which is no small system, and then of course you continue to provide leadership on their board of directors, and then the other things that you're doing with young people through both the district and also Youth Hall of Fame are phenomenal. And just to also put that in perspective, Greece might have been 45,000 people back in the day, but now it's over 96,000 people. Right. And then to really put it in perspective, the Greece Central School District is the 8th largest school district in the state of New York. Mm-hmm. No small deal. Correct. And of course, that's the narrowest way to measure this, because the district is the beginning, but the Youth Hall of Fame and the other things that you've touched, as I said, are really regional in scope. So I just want to say thank you so much to you and your family, and thank you so much for coming on the program today.
Thank you for inviting me. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, our next guest coming right up is going to be Jim Cucinelli, the 2018 Small Business of the Year winner and the owner of Ridgemont Country Club. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
On February 1st at Ridgemont Country Club, the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce hosts Emerging Issues in Business and Education, a moderated panel discussion. The event, which runs from 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m., features professional networking, lunch choice of porcini ravioli or filet, and a moderated panel discussion with community leaders, including Greece Superintendent of Schools Kathleen Groffman, Hilton Superintendent of Schools Casey Kozorek, the College of Brockport President Heidi McPherson, New York State Senator Joseph Robach, Lori Parker of Parker Law Office, David Parado of Bartolomeo and Parado Funeral Home, and Deborah Whitt of Deborah Ham Whitt Agency. The panel will discuss key issues and strategies relevant to business and education, followed by audience Q&A. Tickets are $35 for the general public and $25 for Greece Regional Chamber members. For details and registration, visit greecechamber.org or call 585-227-7272.
In 2018, visit exciting U.S. and international destinations with the Greece Regional Chamber in partnership with Collette. They've done all the planning and negotiating for you so you can put the fun back in. 2018 tours include America's Cowboy Country, South Africa, Spain and Portugal, and the Treasures of Tuscany. Visit the Greece Regional Chamber today. Go online or call 585-227-7272 to find out about their upcoming presentations. Take the trip of a lifetime. Again, that's 585-227-7272.
5-Star Urgent Care is here to help save your holiday season by treating non-life-threatening injuries and illnesses, getting your family back to what matters. From colds and flus to upset stomachs from holiday dinners, 5-Star is open on all major holidays to provide your family quick, convenient care when you need it most. Located on Dewey Avenue near Big Lots Plaza, walk in today to be seen and treated quickly with no appointment necessary and most insurance accepted. Visit 5staruc.com to learn more.
The voice of liberty. WYSL. You are listening to WYSL1040.com, 92.1 FM and 1040 AM WYSL app on Rochester.
Green, green, it's green they say on the far side of the hill.
Welcome back. I'm Sarah Lentini, President and CEO of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce, and you're listening to Business Voice, a program of the Greece Regional Chamber sponsored by Collette, our partner in travel. Our next guest is a wonderful businessman in the town of Greece, and he's been committed to Greece and the region for a long time, and right now is the owner of Ridgemont Country Club, which is going through something of a renaissance thanks to him, and he is also the winner of the 2018 Small Business of the Year Award, which this year was conferred by the Greece Regional Chamber and the presenting sponsor, Genesee Regional Bank, at our Small Business Awards event in November. Welcome to Jim Cucinelli. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you, Sarah. It's great to be here. Great to have an opportunity to have me tell you about Ridgemont Country Club.
Wonderful.
And all the listeners.
Terrific. In fact, many people who are listening may not know a ton about Ridgemont and your involvement with it, even though I know a lot of people in our smaller community might. So you were not the owner of Ridgemont Country Club since forever, right?
No, hardly. Ridgemont Country Club was founded in 1928. I'll fast forward to now, 2018. 5 years ago, when I purchased the club, prior to that, and since its inception in the early 1900s, it was owned by members.
Oh.
Every private country club typically pays fees to belong and shares all the expenses. And the country club existed quite well, but as Sarah, as you and I have talked about many times in the past, Ridgemont Country Club saw a lot of transformation, and Greece saw a lot of transformation because, admittedly, the downsizing of Eastman Kodak.
Mm-hmm.
We were full of members that were Eastman Kodak employees. As a matter of fact, the golf community in Western New York always referred to Ridgemont as the Kodak Club. Middle managers from Kodak joined there because it was a better value and without a lot of the high-end costs of some of the other clubs. And admittedly, Oak Hill Country Club of Rochester, Monroe Golf Club, which are very, very prestigious.
Mm-hmm.
But this was kind of like the middle class working man's golf course, and we existed fine. But things after year 2000, the turn of the century, things started going a little backwards, and unfortunately. Some steps where when you're a member-owned club, the members share all expenses. When you have deficits, the members still share expenses. Oof. And that as an eroding factor, we kept losing members who had that right. They weren't in prison. They had to just commit and said, well, can we afford it this year or not? And many dropped out. I made a pledge to, and I was a member from the late 80s when I joined.
That's a long time. Wow.
It was. I watched the club continue to grow, but then the bell curve hit about halfway through in the early 2000s, and we were going, as I said, going down. I was in a position where I felt that the club wasn't responding well to the marketing challenges that it was faced with, both economically and also social lifestyles.
Yep.
The game of golf. If you're an avid golfer, you realize that it does take a lot of time, and it's an urgent world. It's a fast-paced society,
good point.
And golf courses are not necessarily. People aren't knocking down the doors to join. You either love the game or you think it would be a great environment for your family when you can deal with all the other challenges of family life nowadays.
Having said that, I don't think I've ever seen a community because, as you may know, I'm a transplant. I mean, at this point, I've lived here so long, I really should probably stop saying that. But I moved here in 1990 and came from the downstate in the New York City area, and I've never seen a community with so many beautiful golf courses and so much passion for golf. I mean, it really is something that's uniquely special about Rochester, I think. Its legacy and its offerings in the golf arena. Now, so were you working for Eastman Kodak when all this was going on? You weren't, were you?
Nurtured and grew up in the city, but nurtured in Greece, but never worked at Kodak. But of all the friends and families in the neighborhood, they all worked at Kodak. And no, I never worked a day either. So,
did you have another company at the time?
After graduating from college in the late 60s, I had always lived locally, but I never. My work career was always working until the mid-'70s when I started a company known as Light Fabrications.
That's the one I'm familiar with, yeah.
That began as a small manufacturing operation doing electrical assembly work, but springboarded into doing a lot of other types of contract manufacturing. much of which from the turn of the century, we were very heavily involved in the automotive industry, and about 50% of our business was automotive. That business I sold in 2012. Stayed on with the company under a contractual basis, but then all of a sudden, I guess as a member of Ridgemont, that I saw the challenges that were ahead, and I felt I could turn them around. I made the big step to purchase the club from the members.
Wow, huge step.
It was a big step, particularly since I was on the board of directors for 3 different terms prior, but a day in the life, I was only there to play golf.
Right. But a huge step considering that it was not doing well at the time. So what you were doing was offering to step in and see if you could turn things around, yes?
That's correct. I wrote a business plan to the members with a new business model on how we were going to conduct ourselves. The members were very intrigued. It took probably 3 or 4 member-wide presentations to make them feel comfortable. The alternatives, and the interesting part of this was I was actually competing against 3 other national golf course management companies who had made offers to help financially Ridgemont Country Club sustain itself. And I won out over the 2 or 3 other contenders because I promised some things for the members that would ensure the legacy of the club for a long period of time.
What were those things?
Well, particularly country or golf course management companies like to open up the golf course to the general public. And on the west side of Monroe County, there are really only 2 private country clubs, ourselves and Brookdale Country Club, that we're servicing, or rather that enabled people that either lived there or wanted to play golf on the west side of Monroe County, that the attributes or benefits of being a private golf course. There are many golf courses, but like you said, Sarah, there's an abundance of them all throughout greater Rochester area and even Buffalo and Syracuse area. But the ability in the Greece suburb was difficult as the only private club compared to probably 7 or 8 courses that are within 4 or 5 miles of us. So that was something that protected the members, and I think that was one of the key factors that enabled me to purchase the business.
It was important.
Frankly, I paid a very fair price for it, but it wasn't anything different than the others, but it was an opportunity to retain the legacy of a private country club.
And you felt strongly about its importance for the Greece community, didn't you?
I did, very much so. I've been a Greece resident. My wife and I, coinciding with the first year we were married, we moved to Greece. But both her and I had been there for 15 years prior to that. And I just felt that the identity for the town, when Kodak was vacating, that Greece needed to protect itself and to sustain what was a very, very vibrant community. I over the years, have often wondered why Greece sometimes gets a little bit of a kick because we haven't got a village in the center of town. But the sprawl and the way it became, it stood to reason. It wasn't something that whatever it was, the government, the local governances didn't promote something like that. But Greece still retained its identity as the largest town in Monroe County, and I felt that it would be important for Ridgemont, particularly in its high visibility along Ridge Road West, that we needed to save it.
Yep.
Frankly, I don't want to come across as saying I saved it, but it was necessary to really keep the character of a private country club in the town of Greece. That was essential to the town's prominence.
Yeah, and it's, you talk about the town of Greece as not having, maybe the same kind of a village square, village center as some of the other towns in the area, and I think you're really putting your finger on something there. I've very much noticed that, thought about it. Amazing, given that there are, over 96,000 residents, and it's by far the largest town, as you said, in the in the county and then one of the largest towns in the state. I suspect that some of that might have to do with the fact that Greece and Gates and Charlotte were at one point all one. And I've often wondered whether maybe Charlotte was the village square for the town of Greece at some point, or was the more villagey part of the town of Greece. I have no idea. I'm not an historian, but it is absolutely true that we have a limited number of areas in the town of Greece that are gathering places. And so where I'm really going with this is not only is it an important place, important private club, an important institution, an important place to enjoy and play golf, which is so important, I think, to the psyche of Rochester residents. But it's also a gathering place, and in fact, that's how I know it. Right, as a member of the Greece Rotary, for example, we come to the Ridgemont Country Club like clockwork every week, and we're not the only ones. You're not just about golf. And obviously you've made a lot of changes that I'd love to have you talk about. But how many organizations are using you as a nexus, as a gathering place?
We've introduced some business partner memberships since I took over that I feel are very they're very positive to providing a business community image in the area, because it's not so much the meeting rooms, but because of where we're centrally located, the convenience and the identity of being on Ridge Road. And not to go back with the subject matter, but where there's four corners in a village or you meet at the quad, Ridge Road is where you usually meet. And that's where we are, right on Ridge Road. So we felt that with the business partner memberships, this would enable businesses to get out of their environment, to do something socially, to have a place of identity, and to also have the comfort level and the conveniences that a business sometimes needs with having catering services or just an environment that was very conducive for whether it be customer entertaining or internal business meeting. So that has worked out very well for us. It's still a tough sell because in that same area, it's not a question of competition, but there's a lot of restaurants and there's a lot of other places. The hotels, the Marriott does a phenomenal job and has a great reputation servicing the people. But we think we can add something that is a little bit different and provides businesses an opportunity to strengthen the community from that economic aspect. And
it's a beautiful place. And I know that you've invested, I think we started to say you've invested a significant amount of money into the place, both physically and also programmatically. Can you tell us a little bit about what's happened with the grounds, the building, and then you've got an exciting new, I don't know whether your son seems to be taking the lead a little bit, but it's a very cool concept. Avid is a very cool concept as well, right there on the grounds. Well,
this time of year when the temperature, the highs for the week are going to be in the single digits, indoor golf is an opportunity for people that love the game. And in fact, Sarah, you're referring to our Avid indoor golf and training facility, which is on the property of Ridgemont Country Club, which does enable people to play virtually year-round during the year. That's Ridgemont Golf right now.
That's awesome.
In early January. The property, Ridgemont Country Club, probably like pretty much every other golf club, was a farm prior.
Oh.
The Upton family, which is very, very deep in legacy. Matter of fact, the owners are buried, I found out, in the village of Spencerport Cemetery. But the property dates back to the early 1800s, or rather, we think the deed for the house was made in 1841 or something.
Oh, goodness. So it was an Upton family house?
It was the Upton family house. Lore has it that he was both a lawyer and a businessman. He had a variety of enterprises, but the original basement, the original walls are still there. We've added on over the years. The Ridgemont Country Club enterprise, the entity in 1928, bought it from the Upton family, and that was one of their successors, one of their children. As I said, everything is still original, but we've added on over the years.
No, it really is. It's a charming I think that's a Victorian-style house, if I had to, I don't know, you tell me.
I didn't go that deep in it. I've read the lore. I get a kick out of it. It still is exciting to me, even though I've never been fond of older homes. It truly is charming.
It really is.
Myself personally.
It's beautiful.
And so many people come in and they're just enamored with the fact of the original walls. The fireplaces are still there. It has a special character. But we've added on tastefully. The improvements that we have added, that I have added since taking over, is another small banquet room, which oversees the golf course, which has been good. As I indicated, building the Avid facility on the east side of the property, which is about a 5,000 square foot building, has helped us. That's been one of the renovations or additions. We put in new patios along, again, overlooking another area of the golf course, and we've remodeled the inside on 2 or 3 different occasions in the past 5 years. So.
And it's the grounds are gorgeous. The plantings are beautiful. The patio is really lovely space.
I think it's a great environment for outside parties. Of course, it's hard not to be objective, but
right.
or to be objective, but it's a good feeling. It's a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
Someone we're all very proud of, the members too.
Yeah, it's really lovely, and it is. It's a place where we've done a couple events, the Greece Regional Chamber. And if you're just tuning in, by the way, you're listening to Business Voice, which is a program of the Greece Regional Chamber, sponsored by Collette, our partner in travel. And you're listening to Jim Cucinelli, the owner of Ridgemont Country Club and the 2018 Small Business of the Year winner, talk a little bit about Ridgemont and some of the great transformations that have been going on there, making a good club really great, even better. And then the other part that I love, other than the grounds, where we've done some events with you and hope to do some more. In fact, we've got a couple coming up. Just going back to Avid, which is such a great concept, where you can play golf year-round. Just to say a little bit more about that, first of all, there's a bar inside. Then there are tables. Somebody could, like my husband, if he wanted to play, could go and play, and I could sit with him, and I don't have to be a golfer in order to be with him and enjoy an evening. And then there are lots of different screens, if I remember right, and you can play a variety of different courses, right? Isn't it programmed with different courses that you can play?
Absolutely. There's over 90 golf courses on each of the 4 cells, and for those golf aficionados that really follow the game worldwide, it gives you a variety of actually being there. In this day and age with the technology, these are big screen TVs that are 12 foot or 10 foot by 10 foot type of thing, and the clarity is excellent. You really feel as though you're walking on the grounds. And the beauty part about the game of golf is you're outside. You're in a park-like setting, yep. And golf courses, many of them, we're used to the lush big trees here in the Northeast, but many of them are in desert surroundings, or many of them are in plains areas where there isn't, they might be very flat, or they might be very, very hilly. They might be next to an ocean with wonderful, environment. But this gives all of those variety of golf courses to play in. There are 4 separate cells. Yes, we have a bar. You got to have a bar. But it is a very, very comfortable setting.
Yep.
All of the golf courses are, you can, besides when you play these, you don't play the entire course if you don't want to. You can play 3 holes at one course and 5 holes at another course if you wish.
Oh, what fun. That's really fun.
It is
I didn't know
fun.
that.
We do serve, if it's a bar, I guess we serve bar food, but it's good sandwiches, pizza, chicken wings, yep. And the like. It is Jamie Cucinelli, our son. This is his enterprise within Ridgemont Country Club, but he's very proud of the offerings. It's very fairly priced, all of his offerings, mm-hmm. Also very competitive to others. And there are a couple simulators that are in Monroe County over on the southeast side, but we think we've got a good product there.
It's a great
product. It's a fun environment.
Yep.
We also provide, and he is a fitness buff, not that the old man ain't, but on the other side of the building, he does individual fitness training for either golf, for outside skiers, They do yoga classes and the like, and
Very cool.
a lot of individual training. It's a full fitness facility.
So what a great place to visit in the off months when you're not able to be outside playing golf. Boy, can you make good use of that facility?
Very much so. Very much
awesome.
so. It's easy to get to. Also, we're right now. Where the golf course is with the traffic light entrance to get in and out. But it's open to make tee times on the website or whatever. So it's something that adds to the allure, hopefully, of Ridgemont Country Club in general.
Wonderful. And if they're interested in getting more information about any part of the country club, or even just a social membership, which, as you said, you've really rolled out, which is something I'm rather fond of because it's a great place to bring somebody for lunch. How do they reach out to you? Website?
Our phone number, our website. The website is really, and it goes by RCC Golf, but it is very, very convenient. All of our plans, all of our programs are on that site. Going back to Avid for just a quick second, that is tied in. If you go to the RCC website, that'll automatically link you to Avid, and vice versa. But the Ridgemont facility, obviously by phone and the like, but we're open virtually 7 days a week, and would love to tell people more about what our offerings are. And all of our offerings are quite varied. I think, and that's one of the things that we talked about early in the show or the recording, Sarah, is the variety of memberships that we have that appeal to society's changes. Mm-hmm. It used to be you either a golf member or you're a social member. Now you can be a golf member in the afternoons after 3 o'clock for those people that typically have the 8 to 5 environment. For those that they have their mornings free, you can tee off before 10 o'clock 5 days a week. Those are priced significantly different than our regular golf memberships. Our social memberships, besides the business partner memberships, this enables you, if you just want to just come to eat there, or have a place to bend an elbow with a friend or your family and the
totally
like.
My kind of thing. That's right.
Ridgemont has a very, very large swimming pool, incidentally, being where we are next to Ridge Road and with the access, it's convenient. So we have just a swimming pool membership for those people that have got children or want to have a place that ain't their backyard, so to speak, where they can go and relax 7 days a week, which we are open during the summertime to enjoy that swimming activity.
What a great number of offerings, and what great offerings, and also what great packages. I'm so impressed with the way in which you've created a wide variety of different ways that people can come and enjoy and participate with Ridgemont Country Club. So just kind of one last question. Do you have something that's on the horizon, something that you're hoping to do next with Ridgemont, or perhaps not with Ridgemont?
As a matter of fact, beginning on Saturday nights through this, this beautiful but cold winter season, we have a Saturday night cabaret supper club that we're offering.
That's great.
Can I say the price? It's $50 to join for 3 months with free entertainment every week.
How nice.
It'll probably be a DJ or some local 1 and 2 people, entertainers and the like. But the whole idea was to offer something to beat the winter blahs rather than just having to go to the show or the RPO, so to speak, just another alternative. I felt that this would be a great offering for people to, besides having something else flexible to be looking at in their social schedule, lets us show how good our food offerings are, which I think they are as good as it gets in this area, frankly. People have a stigma that we are a private club, so you can't go in there. No, here's an opportunity to get a little a virtual and actual flavor of what Ridgemont is at a very inexpensive price.
And without joining. And without even having to join.
Without joining, to making the big step.
Yep.
And I also will tell you from a licensing standpoint, this is an opportunity for us to test the market. If we feel as though we could open it up for the food and beverage operation to be more accessible to the public, this is a good way to really examine ourselves and really look at what we can offer and can we compete even greater than what we are. So,
very smart.
We'll try.
Very smart, very creative, as everything that you've done is. We wish you much luck, and congratulations once again on being named the 2018 Small Business of the Year by the Greece Regional Chamber and Genesee Regional Bank at the 2017 Small Business Awards. And before we let you go, just tell us once again, if somebody wants to reach out to you, what's your phone number?
225-7650 is the office number, 225-7650 or rccgolf.com.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Jim Cucinelli, Ridgemont Country Club. Pleasure to see you.
Thank you, Sarah. It's been great. I'm truly honored to be here and be on the program and to win the award this year. It's been phenomenal. Thank you
so much. Thank you. Before we go, I've got a few things that I want to share with you just to make sure that you know what's going on in the coming weeks at the Greece Regional Chamber. Starting with the Youth Hall of Fame. You heard earlier from Ralph DeStephano, who is the founder of the Youth Hall of Fame, and we are currently accepting nominations for young people in 11th and 12th grade from any school from throughout our region. And details are on the Greece Regional Chamber's website, greecechamber.org. And as I said, nominations are being accepted until the end of January. Also want to make sure that folks are aware that we've got a business and education luncheon that's coming up on February 1st. That's actually at Ridgemont Country Club. You were just hearing a few minutes ago from Jim Cucinelli, the owner of Ridgemont, talking about the wonderful transformations that have taken place there. The business and education luncheon is going to be not just a luncheon, but a moderated panel discussion featuring leaders from business, education, and government, and including the superintendents of both the Hilton and the Greece Central School Districts, the new president of the College at Brockport, Joe Robach, New York State Senator Joe Robach will be on hand, as will several business leaders and other elected officials. So it's going to be a great conversation about key issues that are impacting business and education, and you won't want to miss that if those are issues of interest to you. Again, greecechamber.org is the place to get that information, to sign up for the luncheon, and just to learn a little bit more about it. And then we've got a wonderful event that we are holding once again this year. It's this year got a little bit of a different twist, but we're doing the 2018 Health and Home Expo on February 24th. It's a Saturday, 9 to noon. It's going to be at the YMCA on Long Pond Road. They're a wonderful venue, wonderful host, and we're going to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 50, 60, 70 plus exhibitors from both the home and the health arenas. So a variety of different vendors with all sorts of information, exhibits. Often they also have token giveaways and raffles that can be lots of fun, and experts will be on hand to talk to you about a range of services and products that have to do with the home and the health arenas. So check out everything that we've got going on. Those are just 3 examples. Remember that we offer health insurance, so if you're interested in medical, dental, vision insurance, our brokerage firm and our licensed brokers are on hand to help you. And also, please do reach out if you have any questions, if you have any comments. We would love to talk to you. So visit greecechamber.org, call 227-7272. If you're interested in following up on anything that you heard today, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We hope that you tune in for the next edition of Business Voice. And my thanks to our wonderful guests, Ralph DeStephano of Buckman's Enterprises, Jim Cucinelli of Ridgemont Country Club. My thanks, as always, to our presenting sponsor, Collette, our partner in travel, and to our many other sponsors. And I wish you all a very happy and healthy 2018.
You've been listening to Business Voice, a program of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce, sponsored by Collette. The Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce serves businesses, nonprofits, and individuals throughout the region, focusing on promoting economic and community development and serving as the voice for business. The Chamber offers networking, education, advocacy, community events, and business services. It serves as an important platform for business leaders and citizens to come together in support of common goals.